Hi guys, welcome back to the Heroes Hype Challenger series. We are in the best of 3 match between Zeveron and the Kappa Wolves, and Zeveron are up 1-0, and our draft is already going.
What a cool game we just got to watch, Gilly. It was nice and close, and like we had mentioned in the draft, because the teams were kind of similar in what they were trying to accomplish, it ended up being a really, really fun match. And it looks like these teams are looking for something kind of similar as well, although we are seeing Muradin come out as a priority for tank for Kappa Wolves already.
I really like what Kappa Wolves are doing. Zeveron did get through with an Uther Kerrigan, which is going to be super strong. And so many teams love having that Divine Storm or Divine Shield with the Maelstrom, but Zeratul, of course, being banned, Kappa Wolves banned Tyrande, and also first picked Jaina. So they've already kind of limited the power that Zeveron had in the last game. And another thing that is limiting to that is the fact that the last Battleground had lanes that were very close together. It's the smallest Battleground that we possibly have as well. So it's going to be very easy to make those rotations, try to get ganks like we saw. But in Sky Temple, that's not really the case. The lanes are much further apart.
That's true. So we're going to see mobility probably being prioritized, but so far, no heroes that are super notable for their ability to get anywhere fast. I mean, for example, Falstad can fly across the map. We used to see ETC a lot on this map, but none of these heroes are really showing a huge priority for that.
Yeah, it seems like Sky Temple tends to have 2 things prioritized. One is that mobility that you mentioned, and another is the ability to fight within a certain area, because you generally have those fights that all revolve right around those temples, which are, of course, the objective of this battleground. So we do have the Kael'thas and the Jaina, both of which you have those area of effect spells, especially that Phoenix for Kael'thas at level 10. Kerrigan also has the Maelstrom too, and Tyrande has been banned out. She's got that Starfall, as well as Tassadar. So Kappa Wolves really don't want to let Zeveron have the potential to have a very sustainable team composition along with the Kerrigan. So they've banned both Tyrande and Tassadar, who typically are picked up with a regular support like Uther, to make a composition just even more sustainable, because they're kind of in between a support and an assassin role. So they're still going to provide some support type abilities, but some assassin roles as well.
Another notable thing that Tyrande and Tassadar have in common is their ability to provide vision, and so that might give us some insight as to why Zeveron went ahead and grabbed Zagara, who can also do a lot to provide vision using her creep tumors.
Yeah, that's a great point. She's very nice too, as a lot of teams will put her in that bottom lane, and you can spread that creep out and have vision for when you start to have those bottom temple spawns. The second phase, and then of course subsequent ones will have the bottom one on rotation as well. And that one's a really hard one to be able to get into and out of, and so having that vision around that and the boss provides a very distinct advantage for a team. Zeveron are also going to grab Johanna here, so we're not going to see the Arthas tank like we had before. We're going to see a little more standard one with Johanna. Now Kappa Wolves have their last 2 picks. We should see a support here, and the last pick, well, it could be a couple of different things. We could see another warrior like an Anubarak in order to try to have a really good front line. With Kael'thas and Jaina, they already have enough damage.
Do you think we might see a specialist, Gilly? I mean, we've seen some use for them, especially like you said, in situations where you are fighting in a particular area.
Yeah, I think Sylvanas, she's still actually a possibility, and that wouldn't be a bad one. They would have a lot of great pushing potential, which any amount of structures that they can take out limits the amount of tower shots or temple shots that really need to be kind of wasted on those towers. They can instead be put on those higher experience giving structures like forts and keeps. So that's a great possibility as well, a specialist like you mentioned. It does mean that their composition would be a little more squishy. So it looks like we're going to actually have a Sonya here, which is not something we see super often.
Well, Kappa Wolves did use Stitches last time, so they like hooks, I suppose. But like we mentioned, Sonya is going to hook herself to someone. So it's an engage more similar to maybe something like Burrow Charge, like you mentioned with Anubrak. So I'm curious why they would pick her over someone like Anubrak, who is still available, or some of the other options they could use as a second warrior.
Well, let's go through it. She's got, like you mentioned, a good engagement with the Ancient Spear, but also with Leap, if she were to pick that up. She could also get Wrath of the Berserker and then kind of fill that melee bruiser role instead of some of the other ones we've seen. Of course, Zeratul is a prime pick, but he is out of the question. He's banned, and Kerrigan's already picked up. So she also has Whirlwind, and so needing to fight on a certain area might be a little bit difficult because if she's whirlwinding around you, you want to try to get away from that or stop that. And there's really only, really it's the Hammer of Justice from what I'm seeing, or maybe the Blessed Shield from Johanna to stop that. So that's another possibility.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, kind of filling that melee damage dealing role while still being able to take a lot of hits, especially when you're looking at now adding Vala to the mix. Vala and Kerrigan both can do a lot of great damage, and Zagara can actually do some damage as well. For a warrior, Johanna actually does a fair amount. So Zeveron is going to be dealing hits, and Kappa is going to want to take them, so maybe that's why they're looking for someone like Sonya. I have to say, Gilly, you know a lot about my favorite heroes, and Zeveron, aside from maybe Vala, they drafted one of my perfect teams. I love the synergy between Uther and Kerrigan, you know, especially with that Divine Shield. I think that's just so much fun as an assassin. And then I think that Johanna and Kerrigan have a lot of synergy in terms of the shapes they can create of engagements. Johanna can condemn on top of a maelstrom, which can be devastating. They both can do pulls, which can keep someone in a space for a long period of time. If someone's trying to escape, for example, from on top of a, off of a temple, they can do a lot to make sure they die before they get that chance. So I'm really excited about the synergy of Zeveron, and I'm also excited for Kappa Wolves to show me why I should start to not feel so confused by Sonya.
Show us the way of Sonya.
Please.
You mentioned that Zeveron have a lot of potential for pulls, and I always love seeing a condemn into the impaling blades from Kerrigan, because it just shows such good teamwork and synergy, and shows the practice that they've put in at that combination of being able to use someone else's ability within somebody's combo, which is so neat to see. We'll have to see if Zeveron can pull that off. We are going to be loading into the Sky Temple, so I'm going to hop over to that. This is the Sky Temple, and if you are unfamiliar with this battleground, the objective is to capture temples. Different temples will be spawning throughout. There's 3 on the battleground that if you can capture and stand on them, they will shoot lasers at your opponent's structures. Temple Guardians will spawn. They're just mobs that will be trying to push you off and deal damage to you, and then of course your opponents will be trying to stop you from capturing them as well. But let's go ahead and introduce the teams. Would you like to introduce Kappa Wolves?
Sure. They're going to be in blue this time because teams like to be confusing and change their outfits, and that's just fine. Big Impact is going to be playing Kael'thas, Yelkow will be on Muradin, Akaface will take Rhaegar, Hawkfu will be on Jaina, and Solo Nazgul will take that Sonya.
Oh, and already we might see an engagement as the Stormbolt's going to go down on Zagara. Faye's going to try to get out of there. Zagara has to be careful. There's not a lot of escape there on the Zagara. All they wanted was to drop a creep tumor. Is that so wrong? Of course, we'll see Zagara moving to the bottom, and that's what they were trying to catch there. But let's go ahead and introduce Zeveron as well. It will be Faye playing that Zagara with Equinox on the Kerrigan, Cotton Luck playing Vala, Mad Timmy will be on Uther, and up at the top, Fury will be playing Johanna.
We will see a lot out of Zagara on this map that's really cool. She's capable of laning, she's capable of doing a lot in a team fight and providing that vision with those creep tumors. So she's a favorite on this map. Equinox trying to go in and get that Primal Grasp into Impaling Blades, and that harkens back to what you were just talking about, Gilly, that it's even hard to hit that combo when you're playing just by yourself, when you're using your own pull. Using it with another hero's pull shows some great finesse, so I hope, like you said, we are going to see something like that.
Yeah, Zeveron have been setting up trying to get the jump on Solo Nazgul. Might be able to this time as well, as Equinox is going to jump in, but we also have Yelkow and Hawkfu right behind to try to help. So Sonya will go down, but Equinox is most likely going to as well. Yes, there she will go down. Now Hawkfu trying to desperately to get out, but a great multi-shot from Cotton Luck is going to ensure that she does not get away. So it's going to be a 2-for-1 here for Zeveron. I don't think they're going to feel too bad about that.
No, I don't think so. Not at all. It does stink to be Kerrigan and find yourself in that situation because she does not have a lot of escapability at this point in the game. So she's going to have to be careful as part of that gank squad that she doesn't find herself among many Kappa Wolves in the future. But like you said, the trade was favorable.
Several of the wolves, indeed.
Howling.
Yes.
Howling for her doom.
We've got the first temple phase. It's always mid and top, and it looks like right now Johanna is going to be content to hold top, but we're going to see Equinox taking a lot of damage here as she did throw the Primal Grasp out, not going to be able to grab Hakufu, who is very, very low. So they will lose Kerrigan there, and we might see them just choosing to trade. In bottom, we still have two heroes there, as neither are content to let the other solo push. That would help them get ahead a lot in experience. So we're going to see them trade out here for now. Fury's taking some damage from Big Impact, but should be able to get the rest of the shots. Yes, there they go. Meanwhile, there's still a few left in mid. Will Zeveron be able to push away? It looks like they are. Equinox is going to ravage in, be able to pick up the rest of the shots from that temple.
It's interesting to note that Uther is the tankiest of supports. He can take quite a few hits, and in that situation where Equinox was taken out, I would like to see Uther being a little farther forward so that he can kind of protect her from those hits. And since she does have the Primal Grasp, she can use that to pull enemies toward her. So we may see that if Johanna is doing something like taking a temple on her own, that Uther starts to take that tank role.
Yeah, that's definitely the case too, and once we see them start to group up a lot more, we'll see that Uther kind of running up there with Johanna as well, since he is fairly tanky as a support. Now we do see Kappa Wolves picking up their Siege Giants. They're going to move around, maybe try to get a jump on Faye here, who is going to be able to avoid the Stormbolt, but can she avoid everything else? She's running to her teammates desperately, who are going to jump right in front of her and be able to take out Sonya, and now they will be able to get Murden as well. Hakufu is on the run. Equinox is also on the run, going to ravage in, throw down the Envenom, and be able to pick up the takedown on Jaina. 3 takedowns there, and level 7 has been achieved by Zeveron.
Using that narrow corridor to kind of bottleneck the team was so advantageous there for Zeveron, and the Primal Grasps were just on point for Kerrigan there. So really showing the power of synergy between the players of Zeveron when they're all together.
Yeah, that was a beautiful bait too, and a lot of times when you are trying to run away from something like that, like Zagara was, you just tend to run straight away. It can be pretty scary not to run into the safety of your base, but really trusting her teammates to jump right in front of her, make it to where she's safe, not going to take any more damage. They really came out ahead there. Both teams have picked up their level 7 talents. Let's see what they grabbed, as we will see them starting to grab bruisers as well, getting ready for that bottom temple phase. Looks like Zagar actually picked up rapid incubation, so looking for a lot more sustainability over the endless creep or the battle momentum, which we do have Kerrigan and Johanna picking up. And Vola's been going for that Hungry Arrow build, so she's going to have a lot of single target damage there. But on the other side, Kappa Wolves pick up focus attack and follow through. So Sonya's going to be doing a lot with her basic attacks. That could be a little bit scary.
We're going to see a little bit of a push here from Zeveron in the bottom. They've got their sight set on taking down this fort with the help of the Temple. Fury, again, is going to be standing on that temple basically unbothered at this point. You have Kappa Wolves, 3 of them up here in the top lane dealing with Kauth and Luck, and in the meantime, not being able to really do much about what's going on here in the bottom.
Yeah, you know, they got their bruisers kind of late. They were able to get a push with them, thankfully, because they had taken out the bruisers of Zeveron. But they realized that Zeveron were so close to 10 that it wasn't really going to be in their favor to try to take that temple and get into an engagement. So they're just going to try to push in here, maybe be able to get some extra experience. But meanwhile, on the bottom, we have Zeveron going after this boss very early on, and they really can afford to do so because they do have those heroics. They've picked up the Devouring Maw as well as Maelstrom, the Blessed Shield, Divine Shield, and Strafe, and they're going to get it.
Wow, that's going to be a huge boon for them this early in the game. A 5-minute boss, as you mentioned, is something that most teams don't expect, and it's going to be pushing in this bottom lane, which is already a little bit wounded. Luckily, Solo Nazgul is down there to start dealing with it, but even those spinning blades of doom are not doing too much to take it down before it's going to get to that wall.
Yeah, and a split push from Zeveron means that they were able to take out the mid 4 as well. And on top of all of that, the top 4 wasn't even quite taken out by Kappa Wolves. It looks like Winions might be able to get it. No, actually, they did not. So trading the forts there for a fort and a boss, and now another fort, and now another fort, definitely was not in the Wolves' favor.
Yeah, that was a great split push. I love when teams really have an understanding of where they're pulling the attention of their opponents. But hold on, there was a big stun from Yelkow, and the Blizzard from Jaina is going to chill and slow members of Zeveron. They are moving together out of the way. Johanna doing a really good job of staying forward, but the pursuit is still on from Kappa Wolves. They are going to manage to stun Johanna, but she does have that unstoppable trait. She's going to use that to get out of the way, and it looks like Zeveron's going to be able to disengage relatively unscathed. They don't really have an interest in engaging anymore.
No, they were somewhat low on mana thanks to a lot of those pushes that they did, and their opponents were pretty healthy, so they're just going to be able to get back, regroup. Some of them are going to go back even and start pushing some of these lanes again as well. That top one looks like maybe Kappa Wolves will be able to get it. Yes, they will be able to pick up that fort, so that's going to help at least even up structures a bit, but that's only the first fort to go down for Zeveron, whereas Kappa Wolves are down to their keeps, and that is going to really take a toll on them as these next temple phases start spawning, because they're going to, if they look just to trade out the temples, then it's really going to be in Zeveron's favor here.
I thought I might see them heading toward the mid, but instead they are going down here toward the bottom, and they're going to look for an engagement because they know, like you said, that they can't trade. They have to find an advantage and get both temples.
Look at this amazing spot for Maelstrom. Equinox is pulling them into this very small choke where if you're in there, you are going to take damage from the Maelstrom. But nobody is down yet for the Wolves. And everyone else looking very, very low here for Zeveron. A great water elemental is going to at least catch, I think the Devouring Maw caught the water elemental, but is not going to be able to take anybody out here. Sonya did go down, so that's at least something in Zeveron's favor. They do also have those giants pushing. They were able to pick up the ones behind them. So now they are going to maybe, wow, I figured they might be interested in just trading, but they know they're up a talent tier. They know they're also up in terms of heroes. They're going to come up and try to force Kappa Wolves off of this temple as well.
I think that's a smart move. As much as they wouldn't lose too much from trading, as they are a little bit ahead and their structures are certainly quite better fortified, being very greedy at this point in the game is not a bad idea. They do have Fury on Johanna sniffing around at the bottom here, but all the members of Kappa Wolves are focusing their attention here. They just want to get as many shots out of this as they possibly can without having to pay for it with their lives.
Yeah, they're going to get just a few more shots needed, and then they're already starting to head down, so they want to contest this bottom one as well. Kappa Wolves still haven't picked up 13 talents, and look what Zeveron have. 3 spell shields to try to mitigate damage, as well as the Mutalisk, and of course, Sprint on Kerrigan. So they are going to start chasing Kappa Wolves away. They're going to move in, pick up the rest of these temple shots as well, start doing some damage on those structures.
So not a clean trade by any means, and it looks like Zeveron is going to manage to come out ahead again in terms of the amount of damage they're able to do with the temples. They're also looking now to grab their bruisers up here. They're spread all across the map, being able to grab these objectives. Well, in the meantime, it looks like Kappa Wolves did all send everyone to the bruiser camp to make sure that they're not going to get picked off before they can kind of close this experience gap.
Man, I just love the 3 spell shield pickup from Zeveron against a Jaina and a Kerrigan. That is so nice that they were able to grab those. We do have 13 talents for the Wolves as well. It looks like, of course, we've got improved Ice Block and the Flamethrower for Jaina and Kael'thas, respectively. And it looks like we might have an engagement here. Divine Shield has to go down to save Faye. They're on that Zagara. Yelkow is on the chase in Avatar form. Mad Timmy, though, being chased by all the members. Maybe the next one to go down. Gravity Lapse is going to pick him up and will be able to take him out. Akaface and Solo Nazgul are getting a little bit low here, though, and the rest of the members of Zeveron are here. So Equinox is on the chase for Yelkow, who is also pretty low. He's going to be first aiding for now, but it will not help. He's going to be able to get out. It looks like no, as the Hungry Arrow will go through. Equinox is going to use that Maelstrom as well, but might have moved away too quickly as Solo Nazgul was still alive, but a good shield glare from Fury will be able to pick him up. It looked like that Muradin trait, his second wind, was maybe going to kick in and save the day, but no, it was not quite enough. And to take down 2 tanky heroes like that is really nice for Zeveron. They're even going to pick up Jaina here as well. And they're going to have a lot of time where they can get around the map, pick up some objectives, and just really continue to force the momentum their way.
Yeah, it's interesting. They're not looking to push right now. That's not the most advantageous thing out there for them to do. Instead, they're turning their attention to mercenaries. And Kappa Wolves know they're going to do that. They're looking already to contest and engage. They're going to engage on Fury, but they know they can't do much to her. They're looking instead for a backline. But in the meantime, Kael'thas does go down relatively quickly. We are going to get lots and lots of stuns, but also an ancestral heal on Yelkow, which kind of turns the tides. As Kerrigan falls, Fury is now in danger. She can take quite a few hits, and so can Uther. He's going to come join her. He's going to stun out Solo Nazgul so that they can escape.
Yeah, Zeveron had the numbers advantage and the talent advantage, but they were still really spread out. They had like 2 here, 1 here, Zagara pushing up top, so they definitely, it was a good call by Kappa Wolves to send everyone there and then be able to pick somebody up from there. And now Kerrigan will be down for 15 seconds, and this is a time where maybe the Wolves can be able to hold a temple and start getting some work done on structures. They're going to push in the bottom here while the temple is hitting this fort, trying to save some of the shots here. They're going to have to be careful because they still don't have 16 yet, and Zeveron does have that. They've got more damage, they've got more tankiness as well, and they've even got that benediction from Uther, so they can get more heals, more stuns, whatever they need, and whatever the situation calls for.
I think you're right that we saw Zeveron maybe overestimate a little bit how much time and space they had and allow Kappa Wolves to kind of gang up on them, more heroes being up than maybe they had time to consider or being in the right place. So they're going to have to make sure that they don't let any more opportunities slip through their fingers, because they didn't really capitalize too much on the takedowns that they did manage to get up there in that top lane.
Yeah, now their opponents are picking up this mid fort thanks to that temple, so they're going to be able to get level 16. And where do we see Kael'thas picking up Ignite? So that's going to help a lot with that. We're also getting Third Wind, or Stone Form from Muradin, so that's going to help a lot with his tankiness as well. And more heals from Rhaegar too. We're going to have a fight in the mid, and already Solo Nazgul is so low, was not able to leap out, and the Ancestral Heal did not catch her, so a little bit of anti-synergy there. The Maw is going to actually pull a couple members in away from the Strafe, but it doesn't matter. Both are going to go down as well. Equinox trying desperately to get away from that Yelkow, who is trying to Dwarf Toss around, but a heal on Equinox means that she is now after the Yelkow, and he's going to be trying to just lead everyone away. If he can stall time, that would be great, but it's not going to matter. And a push from the Siege Giants on bottom means that that keeps already done. And meanwhile, up top, another siege is happening from Zeveron with that temple.
Wow, I think Kappa Wolves is looking around and being like, okay, what do we deal with first? Kael'thas, of course, had to go deal with those Siege Giants. In the meantime, though, Zeveron is going to have plenty of time and space to take this boss while their temple is pushing. So they've got problems in top, they've got problems in bottom. And we'll see where Fury decides to go next. It looks like she's going to mount up and probably rejoin the rest of the team, unless Zeveron is looking to grab Bruisers as well.
Yeah, looks like Bruisers are being picked up by the Kappa Wolves, but they're going to have so much on their hands with this Golem. And Zeveron realized this. They know they're almost to their Storm talents. They know they can push some lanes and pick those up. They can easily get that with the towers and maybe even this keep here, and by the time they do that, the boss is going to be into core. So this is a very real game, possible game-winning situation here, but they have to be careful because everyone from Kappa Wolves are up. They're starting to throw damage down on that Golem. This Phoenix is going to come out to try to zone Zeveron away as much as possible. And it looks like Zeveron might be content here, based on the damage they're taking from those flame strikes, to just get this keep and move away. So the boss was mainly just a distraction so that they could really get in and take out another keep, get more and more catapults pushing. But they're trying to turn this around. They're going after Big Impact. The Maelstrom doing real damage to him. But a great Ancestral Heal is going to keep him alive from now. But he can't get away from Carrot. He's trying so hard. Now they finally got some stuns down on Johanna. She might go down, but she's got that indestructible. So there it is going to proc. And that's going to keep him alive a little bit longer. Uther is down now. And Hawkfu will also drop. Coffin Luck getting very, very low. And where is Kerrigan? Oh, down in the bottom. So we're going to see Kappa Wolves on the chase here. They realize they're all pretty healthy. Zeveron's suffering a little bit, and they're at least going to be able to push them out of their base. But they've got to watch out because catapults are almost to their core.
I have to give a shout out to Yelkow there. He really herded the rest of Zeveron back into the fight. They were completely committed to just disengaging, but Yelkow was like, nope, you're in a bad position now, and if you keep trying to run, we're really going to pwn you. And so Zeveron was forced to engage, and I think they felt really confident, like you saw Kerrigan maelstroming all over the place, but they just couldn't grab the positional advantage back, and I think that was a really good engage for Kappa Wolves.
Yeah, they really, especially for the fact that they were down, they didn't have their storm talents, and they still were able to make it work there. It was a really good job by them. And now they do have a temple that is going to be able to take out a fort. That's going to help them a little bit with the experience too, but they've got to be careful, as we do have storm talents, like I mentioned, for Zeveron. They have that in Indestructible. They also have the Bulwark of Light Divine Shield upgrade, which is something that we rarely see. It's almost always that redemption.
Ooh.
That's going to reduce the cooldown and increase the length of time, and they might need it there as Zeveron's Equinox got so low, but she is going to be able to stay alive, and now they are going after Jaina, who's going to drop that ice block. Will she be able to get away? A great Ancestral Heal will keep her alive, and this fight is everywhere. Solo Nazgul, though, in front will go down, as will Muradin. Could not sustain versus all of the damage that Zeveron is putting out, and now they're after all of the squishy ones. They've dealt with the front line. They've taken out Kael'thas. Jaina will be next. Only Akaface remains, but is not going to be able to lure them away from the core.
Yeah, we oftentimes see teams kind of get tunnel vision and want to finish off that full team wipe. Not so for Zeveron. They know the advantage they have now, and it looks like they're going to try to make full use of it. They're going to go straight for that core. They have almost 30 seconds until anyone is up but Akaface.
Poor Akaface is trying like mad to throw out his Ghost Wolf bites. It was not enough at all, and we will see GG here. Zeveron going to take 2-0 and move to our finals.
Very well played by both teams. They put up great fights, but just have to say, as you mentioned a couple times, Gilly, the finesse with which they're showing their synergy between heroes and a complete knowledge of how different abilities and talents can work together, even showing us some talents that we don't normally see. Really fun match to watch with a composition that illustrates some of the fun things we have in store for us in the post-patch period.
Yes, indeed, that PPP, but I also liked how Zeveron was really able to take advantage of the battleground objectives on both of the games that we saw, but especially on this one. They had pushes going in multiple lanes and knowing exactly where they needed to be. The boss was pushing in bottom, and yes, maybe they could have pushed in with it and thrown a lot of damage on the core, but instead they felt far more comfortable knowing exactly where they were in the game. They were ahead in structures and in talents, so they used that as just a distraction to be able to push in toward the mid and be able to take out that keep, and that just meant 2 lanes pushing with catapults instead of just 1. And from there, they had lanes pushed, so once they did take that final engagement, they were able to push in toward core. So very good job in having a great knowledge of those objectives and knowing exactly where to push at what time in the game.
Yeah, and I think Kappa Wolves did a phenomenal job of picking good engagements. Like we saw that one time where Zeveron, again, thought maybe they had more time and room and were going for those bottom siege giants on the left there, but all of a sudden there was Kappa Wolves having a really committed engagement, or when Yelkow kind of forced that engagement out of the mid in the base. I thought that was great, but as you were saying, it looked like Zeveron had a really good grasp of and control over those battleground objectives, and I think that's what helped them come out on top here.
Yeah, and you know, another thing I wanted to mention is the Sonya choice was interesting to me because Kappa Wolves kind of had this great composition for poking and just being able to kind of like poke down their opponents until they were kind of forced to disengage, or they were low enough that Muradin felt comfortable he could start jumping in, throwing out his storm bolts, trying to get a stun on somebody. And I thought maybe because of that and because of the follow-through and the focus attacks, we were going to see Wrath of the Berserker as the ultimate or the heroic ability for Sonya. But instead, she went with the leap. So it was kind of like this hard engage, but then with a Kael'thas and Jaina who were trying really hard to stay into the back line. And I think maybe that was a little difficult for the Rhaegar, who was trying like mad to keep these 2 in the front line and 2 in the back line very healed up and healthy. So I think whether that was just a great job by Zeveron and kind of pulling them apart, or if it was kind of they were just separating out too much, it did seem like it was making it really difficult to try to keep them all alive.
Yeah, I wonder if we would see them pick that same Sonya in that composition, or maybe they would go for a different warrior. But we'll have to see next time, as that does mean that it will be their last game for this particular week of Challenger Series. We hope we'll see them back again. But Zeveron will move on to the finals.
They will indeed. It looks like they'll be playing the plays, and I know we were having a little bit of difficulty with the game on the other side of the semis. So I'm not sure if it did play out or if we had a DQ, but what we will do is we're going to take a break, and when we come back, though, we will have the finals between Zeveron and the plays, and we'll make sure to keep you updated about what's going on. We'll see you guys very soon.